This game was played in Norway Chess 2024, where Pragg had a spectacular time. He was able to beat the actually the world number one, the world number two, the world number three, Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, and Fabiano Caruana in a single tournament. And now he's facing the reigning world champion, or the former world champion, which is Liren. And this is gonna be one spectacular game. So without further ado, let's start with this game here. Pragg with the white pieces goes for d4. We have knight to f6, and he goes for bishop to g5. This is the Trompowsky attack. d5 now, e3, c5, and bishop captures on f6. This is the main line here. G captures, bishop to b5 check, bishop to d7, and he trades the other bishop as well. He goes for giving up the entire bishop pair early on. Bishop caps on d7, knight captures. Definitely would have come as a shock to Ding, but here just knight to e2, and now just comes e6. We have castles, and you could go for a move like c caps on d4 here, but after e captures and h5, and the thing is that after c4, d captures, you just go for this very nice knight to d2, and after h4, you go for knight caps on c3, and after h3, you can see that it's looking a lot dangerous. Now you can get the rook here, you can keep the king in the center, you can just get the here. There is already pressure here, and the thing is that once the knight is kicked off, you can get simply the bishop here, and you can see that there's a lot of tension there, and you can start a very nice attack in this position, but you have to be a little bit careful. Here after castles was played, we have queen to c7, not going for anything crazy, but just knight to d2. We have bishop to d6, now h3, c caps on d4, knight caps on d4, and here just a6 was played. The thing is that you could also go for a move like rook to c1 in this position, and after b5, stopping a move like c4. The thing is that b3 doesn't work. If you're thinking about b3, then c4, preparing b4 here, preparing c4 in this position, and then this b4 simply, and everything is taken care of. And now you're gonna have to settle for a move like e4 in this position to break open the center, because the king is still stuck in the center. You want to attack here, but after bishop to e5, your knight is under attack, and now you're gonna have to either move it to f3, or you can just go for a move like knight to e2 back, but I don't think so anyone would want to play that move. But here after a6, we have queen to h5 by Pragg. Pragg is ready for an attack and saying that your king is still in the center, so I might be able to just attack it. And if you go for something like this, then rook to c1 is very strong, and even then b3, c4 ideas become available, and even e4 is very fine. So my position is going to be absolutely amazing. And yeah, this is the Trompowsky attack after all. Here just castles was played, but castles king side. Is it a good idea to go for castles king side when queen is already there? You have a semi-open g5. I don't think so it's a good idea, but yeah, I mean, either Liren has nerves or steel, or it's a blunder. But technically engine doesn't say anything, so maybe it's fine here. But the thing is that here in this position, c3 was played by Pragg, where you can go for an active move with rook f to c1, but that shifts the entire momentum towards the queen side, because here again b5, you play a4 trying to destabilize the position, queen to b7, and after b4, you play bishop caps on b4, sacrificing a pawn, because hey, queen to g4 is the idea. The king moves, and now you have this spectacular move, knight captures on e6, and after f captures, you just pick up the bishop, and yeah, you're gonna have to play towards the king queen side here. The king is very nicely safe, but still it's white who's the one who has the edge and the momentum here. But it's very amazing to see that Pragg did not go for this, because now the thing is that what he played created this absolute masterpiece, and he goes for c3. It seems like a very calm move. I mean, you're in the midst of an attack. Why are you playing the c3 move? But I'm glad he played this, because what he created was an absolute beast. Because here just king to h8 was played, but just rook a to d1. Now comes f5. Here knight 2 to f3, but just knight to f6 was played, attacking the queen. Queen moves, and here just going for this very nice queen to e7, thinking that maybe now your king is a little bit unsafe. So here just c4 by Pragg. I mean, going c3, c4. I mean, giving the bishop pair early on wasn't enough. He is going for absolute c3, c4 in this position. Here just d captures was played, but now this you're not supposed to take this. That's a problem in this position. And now Pragg immediately jumps in with the attack. He goes for knight to g5, and now some ideas might be available once the knight moves. Here just rook a to d8 was played, but now just comes this very nice rook to d2. And here rook to g8. Now the idea is simple. You want to go and attack the queen, and I mean, Pragg is taking all the risks here. You can see that his position is not that good. I mean, he has the attack, but you don't have the momentum. All you have to do, because if your attack fails, what are you going to do? You have given up a pawn. That's why engine is giving you 1.6 evaluation to black pieces, but still Pragg is giving up everything towards that attack, and if the attack doesn't pan out, it's not going to be that good. So here just rook f to d1 was played. Pragg is putting some pressure towards that bishop, and here just rook to g6, queen moves, and in this position it's difficult to find the right idea. The right idea in this position that you have to find out to be able to have this attack going, and to be able to have the momentum with the black pieces, and to try and get this win against Pragg, who's an absolute beast in 2024. You have to find this bishop to b4, and bishop to b4 is a very, very dubious move in this position, because I mean, you have to understand that once the rook moves in this position, then you have this very nice e5, and now your knight cannot move here. The rook would be hanging, so you have to be careful about that. But here you can go for this rook caps on c4. The thing is that after e captures, you can go for rook caps on b4, and you cannot capture. If you capture with the queen caps on b4, then just knight caps on f7, and you have to understand I'm just picking up the rook there. So that's the problem here with this position. But after this rook caps on b4, you can also go for a move like rook d to g8, and the position would be absolutely fine, because now after f4, because if you think you can save the piece with f4, because you have to understand where do you even move the knight, because this is coming otherwise, so you cannot move it back, so you have to go for f4. But the thing is that f4 completely blunders the game, because now you can go for this queen captures on b4, and you don't have anything even after knight captures there, because the king simply moves, and I mean there's absolutely nothing, and your position just completely falls apart after the rooks gets action to this. I mean you're also down a pawn. I mean that's just the least of your worry. You have to play bishop to b4, and if you don't play it, which he didn't, he simply then goes for rook d to g8, but rook d to g8 does not work, and Pragg finds the only winning move, which is this knight to f3, and knight to f3 is now completely winning. There is nothing you can do here. h6 was tried, the a bit of a valiant defense for him in this bishop to g3, and yes, you have to go for this, because here after this queen caps on g3, now you play h6, but now you have queen to h4, you cannot capture because this is pin, so you can go for a move like king to g7, but now comes a beautiful sacrifice in this position. Knight captures on f7. You cannot capture with the king, so if you capture with the queen here, you have this knight to e5. Very nice fork here, winning the exchange. You don't have any switch and swing in between moves, so your position just completely collapses. And yes, white is winning, but knight caps on f7, you still have to calculate a lot, so that's why maybe, just maybe, it would have been a decent valiant effort to be able to try and hold in this position. But he does not find it. Ding, he goes for h6 right away, and this does not work, because in this position here, Pragg goes for the kill. He goes for the best move in this position, and he absolutely crushes the reigning world champion at that time. He goes for rook caps on d6, scraps the piece, and it was on this move, on just move 23, that the reigning world champion in 2024, Ding Liren, resigned the game in just 23 moves, and Pragg got this victory in a tournament where he is able to crush the world 5 times world champion Magnus Carlsen. He crushed Hikaru Nakamura, he crushed Fabiano Caruana, and now for the fourth one, he crushed the reigning world champion of 2024, that is Ding Liren. So that's definitely fantastic. He won against all of them in a single tournament, and I mean that's a dream run. That's a tournament that you would remember for the rest of your life. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.